Part A, Aviation Reading. Please read the following radiotelephony messages when you are asked. Now, read sentence 3.
Maintaining flight level 280, World Air A901.
Part B, Common English Reading. Please read the following English sentences when you are asked. Now, read sentence 3.
Then all outgoing flights were delayed because of the weather conditions.
Part C, Repeat. Listen to each sentence, then repeat it. For example, when you hear,
My next flight is on Saturday.
you say,
My next flight is on Saturday.
I have been doing research in preparation for my trip to Europe.
I have doing research in my preparation for my trip to Europe.
Maria's flight was delayed for 5 hours due to mechanical problems.
Maria's flight was delayed for 5 hours due to mechanical problems.
Part D, Short Answer Questions. Please give a simple answer to the question. For example, when you hear,
Where in the airplane did the pilots control the aircraft?
you say,
Cockpit.
or
In the cockpit.
Yesterday, my sister studied for half an hour and her friend studied for 2 hours. Who studied more?
Her friend,
Karen injured her elbow. Does her arm or her leg hurt?
arm.
Part E, Read Back. You will hear several spoken radiotelephony messages. Say an appropriate readback after each one. For each question, a call sign is printed on the test paper for your information. Use this call sign to say an appropriate readback. For example, you see the call sign Cessna 29er on the test paper. When you hear,
Cessna 29er, hold at next intersection.
one possible answer is,
Hold at next intersection, Cessna 29er.
or another possible answer is,
Holding at next intersection, Cessna 29er.
Number 1.
Coastal Air 315, maintain flight level 070.
Maintaining flight level 380, Coastal Air 315.
Number 2.
World Air 395, descend to altitude 1,500 feet.
World Air 395, descending to altitude 1,500 feet.
Part F. Corrections and Confirmations. In this task, you will hear a radiotelephony exchange between two speakers, Speaker 1 and Speaker 2. The speakers are a pilot and an air traffic controller, but not necessarily in that order. Speaker 1 speaks first, then Speaker 2 responds next. After you hear the exchange, imagine that you are Speaker 1. Your task is to continue the dialogue and reply to Speaker 2's response. If Speaker 2's response includes wrong information, correct that information. If Speaker 2's response includes a question or request, respond appropriately. For each question, a call sign is printed on the test paper. For example, you see the call sign East Global Air 295 on the test paper. You will hear Speaker 1's message, then immediately hear Speaker 2's response to the message.
East Global Air 295, contact Atlanta Radar 122.15.
Atlanta Radar 121.5, East Global Air 295.
After
you hear this exchange, you could say,
East Global Air 295, negative. Contact radar 122.15.
or another possible answer is,
East Global Air 295, I say again, 122.15.
Number 3.
Coastal Wing 927, caution work in progress ahead north side of taxiway Charlie.
Caution, work in progress ahead, north side of taxiway hotel.
Negative, coastal wind to 927, work in progress next to taxiway Charlie.
Part G, Story Retelling. Now you will hear 3 stories. After each story, you will have 30 seconds to retell it. Each story will be spoken only once. When you hear this beep, you will have 30 seconds to retell it. Try to retell as much of the story as you can. You will hear another beep at the end of the 30 seconds.
The passengers of a World Air flight expected to arrive at Douala International Airport at 2:55 p.m. Unfortunately, the pilot encountered a line of storms after leaving Charles de Gaulle International Airport and had to deviate from the intended route. The flight arrived 30 minutes late.
The passengers of the World Air flight expect to late at 2:55 p.m. at Dubai Airport because the aircraft from Charles de Gaulle was delayed because the pilot had to deviate the aircraft from the original route due to weather conditions.
Part H, Open Questions. You will hear 2 questions. You will have 30 seconds to answer each question. Each question will be spoken twice. When you hear a beep, you will have 30 seconds to answer. You will hear another beep at the end of the 30 seconds.
When an emergency situation happens, what is the most important thing that you have to do in your job? Please tell us what you have to do and why. When an emergency situation happens, what is the most important thing that you have to do in your job? Please tell us what you have to do and why.
I have to stay calm and try to help the pilot, to find out some information, how many passengers are on board, how many fuel, and then try to coordinate with the fire department and stay calm.